Hey, let's get the house on the market. Let's get the house on the market. If we can't afford it and it's an issue of who's going to pay it, let's get it listed.
So if the home gets listed and sold, she might not have a place to go with the child. Is your client going to be paying his girlfriend's engagement monthly ring cost, or is that going to be off too? Because I don't want him taking marital funds and paying the engagement ring.
The parties have conferred with Mr. Pratt from the front of the court this afternoon. Mr. Pratt has received the following, has provided the court the following recommendation that the plaintiff shall continue to have exclusive use of marital home. All communication between parents shall be via text message. Neither party shall remove from marital home, shall remove or sell any marital property. Neither party shall have any person with whom they have a romantic interests in the presence of the minor child. Fathers shall have parenting time every weekend, Saturdays at 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. In addition, every Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. This on a temporary basis without prejudice. Parties shall have joint legal custody of the 11-year-old child of the parties. And with respect to child support, that the defendant shall pay child support in the amount of $545 per month, commencing April 1st, 2024. Uninsured medical expenses shall be shared by the parties as follows. The plaintiff mother paying 33%, defendant father paying 67%, based upon 75 overnights to defendant father. So it's on a temporary basis. That is recommendation. Now, Ms. Kuhn, is this recommendation agreed with your client this afternoon?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Dart, is this recommendation agreed with your client this afternoon?
I believe I have objections, and I also have inquiries. When I'm in order, I'll share those with the court.
You do have objections. Your response to please, the court has read those objections.
Okay, I'm sorry. Shall I continue?
Yes.
Or oh, very good.
Yes, you may. You may respond, Mr. Dart. The court has read all your objections.
With my objections stem from the parenting time schedule, and they also stem from the idea that he's now paying child support, but there is a one-sided status quo order requiring him to pay all marital bills, and I don't think that she should be able to what I call double dip. So I'm going to address parenting time first, if I may.
Okay, hold on. Was that discussed with Mr. Pratt? Did you go through all the marital bills and who was paying what?
If the child support order is the only form of relief, then I probably don't object. But if it's, to be paying marital bills and child support, then I would certainly object. So I am a little confused. So that's kind of an inquiry.
Discussion, Mr. Dart, was there discussion in terms of what the marital bills are and how much they are each month?
There was some discussion, yes.
Obviously, it needs to be taken into consideration. The court would agree.
Okay.
So do we need to go through all those marital bills right now?
It might be helpful to do that, or at least just say that. Go ahead.
Okay, what's the house payment?
It's $1,070 per month. Is that correct, Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Okay, let's get the house on the market. Let's get the house on the market. If we can't afford it and it's an issue of who's going to pay it, let's get it listed.
Mr. Bennett, do you have any objection to that?
No.
Ms. Kuhn, any objection to listing the marital home for sale forthwith?
Well, right now, my client is in the process of looking for a job. So if the home gets listed and sold, she might not have a place to go with the child. So that would be the only objection. We wanted to wait and deal with that issue at mediation. We had talked about the payment of marital bills.
That's 2 months away. Mediation is 2 months away, Ms. Kuhn. We can't wait 2 months. If in fact, Ms. Bennett has no income, can't contribute, we need to, if we, let's go, we need to, you want to take some testimony? I mean, obviously it's not an unlimited source of money here. If in fact, Mr. Bennett's expecting all the bills, we should take that in consideration when setting a child support amount. Otherwise, we need to start liquidating these assets. Can't wait 2 months.
Well, right now she's having help from DHS to pay the monthly, some of the monthly utilities, and the mortgage is under the hardship program from June until August. So we do have some time.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the hardship program.
It's to keep the home from going into foreclosure while we get the house prepared to be listed for sale.
Okay. Are you aware that Mr. Dart, this home was in this some sort of hardship program?
I'm sorry. The court asked if I was worried or was I aware. I didn't hear the first part of the question. I'm sorry.
Were you aware that this home was in some type of hardship program?
I don't believe I was. No. More importantly, I don't know that my client was, but he could be asked.
Okay. Well, let's discuss this matter. I'm going to put you back in the breakout room with Melissa Bennett. Obviously, we don't have a full disclosure here.
Your Honor, it's my understanding that the house is going to be listed for sale, but it's just going to take some time. Ms. Bennett's working on trying to get a job so she can secure housing. So it's not a if, it's a when.
Okay.
But
right
no, I
now,
was not aware of the program either, sir.
Okay, so no one's making mortgage payments right now, Ms. Kuhn, is that correct?
That's correct.
I had
Okay,
heard
maintain status
differently.
quo then. If we maintain the status quo, and if no one's making mortgage payment right now, there's no obligation, Mr. Bennett, to make a mortgage payment. Is that correct?
There is the status quo order says that he is to pay the status quo bills. It doesn't list them and it doesn't put any obligation on her. I was told that she paid the March and the April mortgage. Is that true? With tax
The
refund?
parties joint, yeah, the parties joint tax refund, she took that refund and she paid 2 months of the mortgage.
Is the
So
May mortgage paid?
May is not paid.
I just need an understanding of what they're asking of my client in terms of status quo. That's why I objected. And now I'm saddled with a child support bill on top of it all, so.
Okay, well, I'm here for the first time. There's a hardship program. I don't know what that's about. Ms. Kuhn, you're saying there's no obligation to make a house payment till August?
They would like a partial payment or any kind of payment that can be made.
So they want some type of payment, a half payment, she's saying?
Yeah.
But let's move up mediation. Mr. LaPrade, is Mr. Walker available? Can we move mediation before July 25?
Your Honor, that was attorney schedules as well as my schedule. Mr. Walker's first available is not till July 11th either.
Okay. Well,
I'll
Ms.
look at
Patrick,
other
is she
days.
available? Let's get some other, we need to move up this mediation here, and then if the parties don't want to make any payments, if it's a hardship program, then there's not an issue about the mortgage payment.
Mrs. Patrick is available on June 20th at 1:30, Your Honor.
June 20th, the council available June 20th?
I am.
I am.
And I'm sorry, is that what, 8:30?
No, that would be at 1:30, Your Honor.
I am available that day.
Ms. Patrick has appeared. Ms. Patrick, are you available on the June 20th at 1:30?
I am, Your Honor.
All right, so who will mediate on the June 20th at 1:30? A 12-year marriage, parties are separated. We've got real property. Are there pension benefits, Ms. Kuhn, that need to be addressed? Mr. Dart?
Do you have a pension, Mr. Bennett? I have his
No.
DRVFIF. I'd have to look at it. I don't have that memorized. But I'll
No
ask him.
pension. No pension.
Does Ms. Bennett have a pension, Ms. Kuhn?
You don't have a pension? No.
Okay, so we've got real property, personal property, our custody, parenting time, support. Is there significant unsecured debt, the credit card debt?
Yes,
For 16,000.
about 16,000
And another credit card for 6,000.
and another credit card for 6,000. So yes.
I'm looking at more like in the neighborhood of 20,000, just a quick glance at my client's DRVFIF. And I need something else too. I've been asking for the DRVFIF several times this month. Ms. Kuhn, will you stipulate to get me that with an agreeable time frame so I don't have to petition the court, please?
Yes, I will, Mr. Dart, and I appreciate that. And I explained to my client today the importance of getting that finished, and she's going to be meeting with my paralegal afterwards to get that to you.
Would it be reasonable to expect that by the end of next week?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
How much equity are we anticipating from the house? If I'm not getting too far afield here.
Don't know. Is your client going to be paying his girlfriend's engagement monthly ring cost, or is that going to be off too? Because I don't want him taking marital funds and paying the engagement ring. He stated he has a monthly payment, so I get that he's engaged to be married, but I would like something stating that he's not going to use marital monies to pay for his girlfriend, his fiance, and any expenses related to their engagement ring or anything else.
I will advise my client to stipulate to any applicable offsets to make sure that that comes out of his end of any settlement or obligations in this case.
Perfect.
Okay, Mr. Dart, how much is this monthly payment for this ring?
Sir, the court is asking a question that I don't have the answer to. Mr.
Okay,
Bennett.
well, Mr. Bennett, because I want Mr. Bennett to pay that payment toward the house payment.
I'm
This is a
not
marital,
paying.
this is a divorce action. The court does not want any dime paid to a third party. He can borrow that from his parents. He can suspend making those payments. Mr. Bennett, how much you pay in this ring?
I don't pay anything. It's just on my credit card.
I'm sorry, it's not on your credit card? You don't pay anything? You have no obligation to any jewelry store?
No, it's on my credit card, but I don't pay anything.
Who
How
pays your
much
credit
was
card
it?
bill?
She's paying it.
All right, the court's gonna order that Mr. Bennett shall not pay any expenses to any third parties while this divorce action is pending. Mr. Bennett, if it appears that you're making any payment on this credit card, the court will hold you in contempt of court. any money you have should be paid toward these house payments. So we don't, to maintain the equity you have in it. Okay, what's Mr. Bennett's income? Does he get paid every week, every 2 weeks? Mr. Driver, let's go through this accounting here, because I want him paying money toward these marital assets.
I get 600 a week. 600 a week, 40 hours.
That take home?
Yes.
How much in the, Mr. Jard, the court's hard pressed to understand why Mr. Bennett cannot make the mortgage payment.
He's
He
got a
brings home 600 a
500
week, and mortgage payment's 1,000 a month.
Well, she had work until 3 months ago and is looking for work and may very well find some. She has $1,200 per month.
Ms. Kuhn,
I
your
have-
client's gonna pay utilities, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, and he's making about net pay $918 a week. I'm looking at what he's making. His gross income, he put as $843 weekly, but it looks like he gets also double time. So he gets shift premiums as well. So it looks like he's bringing home net from $778 to $918, depending on what premium he gets. Based on the GRVFIF and his pay stub that I'm looking at, two of
All right,
them.
well, we did provide that, and I'm a little hamstrung that, you know,
She's getting
did.
unemployment benefits of $310 a week. And she's taking care of the cell phone and she's getting some.
but there was also some program, she's getting money from the DHS that I have nothing on.
Correct.
What's the
What
DHS?
what expenses do we have other than the mortgage and utilities?
Just the credit card payment that is the equity loan for $581 a month. That has not been paid at all.
The equity line of credit?
Yes.
Okay, so there's an equity line of credit of $581. That might have to just wait until we sell the house.
Yeah, I
We'll wait,
understand that.
we'll wait till the house is sold, judge, and get the equity line of credit paid from proceeds.
What is she making DHS per month? I don't quite understand that.
So Department of Social Services, it's a program for people that are on assistance.
Right,
And what they're doing is they're helping her with the monthly utilities. So
How
that
much?
helps him as well.
I have to wait until I get a shut off notice and then I take the bill to them and they help me pay the bill.
So you're also paying a portion of it and they're helping, okay.
So if we have a mediation then on June 20th, and if no one makes a whole mortgage payment, it's not gonna go into foreclosure, correct? Because of this forbearance program?
Correct, Judge, we're good until August.
All right, the court's gonna simply order that Mr. Bennett not pay any credit card expenses toward any third party until this divorce action has been completed. The court's gonna order that the parties mediate with Ms. Patrick. Thank you, Ms. Patrick. June 20th at 1:30 and subsequent appear before this court for continued pretrial conference. And the court's also going to order that the home be listed for sale. The court's not going to set a time frame, Ms. Kuhn, but I think both parties should contact realtors, get a fair market analysis, and so they can be prepared at mediation to discuss who they would suggest list the home. At least the parties can do some research in the meantime.
how would we word that order, Judge? I want to get the language that you're suggesting so I don't get this wrong. How home listed for sale, when or how, or?
The court's ordering that the marital home be listed for sale on the market. I'm simply not scheduling a time frame which that needs to be done. But I want them to be prepared at mediation to discuss with whom it's going to be listed. They each contact a separate realtor, have the realtor come look at the home, see what they do, a fair market analysis. So everyone's got a piece of paper for market analysis with them when they prepare for mediation. It's going to also order that Mr. Bennett not pay any debts toward any third parties, anything other than his family. So it's credit card, if he charged a ring for some third party, you better have the girlfriend paid for that, because it's not going to be coming out of his paycheck.
Is that all credit card debt or just that associated with the ring? I want to make sure.
Well, is it joint credit card debt?
It's not my debt. Is that what it meant? Is what it means?
Is it a joint credit card that you put the ring on?
Not in my name.
Okay.
So, sir, who is the credit card in that you bought a ring on? Mr. Bennett?
My
Whose
name.
name is that card in?
My name.
Okay, is there any other debt on that card?
No.
How much debt is there for that ring?
1,700.
Is there, Ms. Kuhn, is there any joint credit card debt that your client's aware of, or is it all on Mr. Bennett's name?
Is there any joint? Do both of you have names or do you credit card debt in your name?
They just have a credit card in my name
Okay,
that we both used through the marriage.
so there's a credit card in her name that they used during the marriage, and then there's
And then
credit cards in his
in
name.
his name as well that we used through the marriage.
Okay,
Is around 2,000, I believe. Mine's 6,000.
okay.
So
So it
that would
sounds like,
be-
it sounds like they were in separate names, but they were both used for marital purposes other than the ring. Did he actually put any money down on the ring, Mr. Dart?
Sir, Mr. Bennett, do you hear the question?
Yeah, they asked for $20. But I didn't-
$20?
Yes, but it
Right,
didn't
but
come
the
out of my
person-
pocket. It didn't come out of my pocket. I
Okay,
can't
well,
afford anything.
All right, better not come out of your pocket between now and time you get divorced, Mr. Bennett.
I
So
can't
other than that, you
afford
can pay
anything,
other
sir.
credit card bills, Mr. Dart, just not anything toward this ring. Courts are offended that he even do that, while he's not even divorced. All right, so that can be discussed at mediation. The court will simply order that the home be listed for sale, and then the parties move in that direction. They can discuss it further in mediation. And in terms of status quo order, Mr. Dart, I guess there's Ms. Bennett can, since she's got exclusive use, she can pay the utilities, and there's no obligation to pay the house payment at this point in time, but we don't want to delay this too long. So I'm not going to order that Mr. Bennett pay the house payment at this point in time.
I had objections to the parenting time I'd like to be heard on.
Okay, go ahead. First of all, where does Mr. Bennett reside and with whom?
Mr. Bennett, and he will testify to this. This is what he told me before, and sir, please pay attention because you'll be asked to affirm this under oath, I would anticipate. Mr. Bennett lives by himself. I've shown a picture of an acceptable residence that he lives in where the child would have a bedroom and would have her own bathroom. Up until February, when he was, and I think he would say, kind of kicked out of the residence, he was with the child every day. He was very familiar to her. He was part of her routine. He was all of that. There has been some dispute about whether or not he wanted to see the child since he left. I will tell the court that he had me file a motion in the first half of April to deal with parenting time issues. It took 6 weeks for that to get scheduled. So he was unable to secure parenting time in the first half of April when he petitioned this court. There was some concern that the child has autism. I don't see that pled in any complaints. I don't see any of the specifics of that set forth in any answers or anything of that nature. And I guess my fundamental objection is somehow the idea that my client is unfamiliar with how to care for that child when he had lived with her for 10 years. My client will co-parent. If there is communication between the parties, he will get every encouragement from me to participate in good faith in that. But what they're doing is they're kind of taking undue weight on the idea that he is not able to care for a child who has an autistic condition that he's been very familiar with and that somehow only mom is. And that's kind of what I take issue with. There's limited non-overnight parenting time that is insufficient. It is inconsistent with the lifetime routine that the child has observed. I had asked for equal parenting time, which I believe to be appropriate on an interim basis in this case. He has no fitness issues. He has no criminal history, no psychiatric history. He doesn't have any CPS history. He doesn't have any domestic violence history. So there's no reason why we should not continue what had been going on for years and years and years under the myth that somehow he doesn't know her condition and couldn't accommodate her weird, that's a weird word, the wrong word, her diet kind of peculiarities or things like that. He can accommodate all that, and mom should be ordered to communicate with him to start the process of co-parenting on that issue. So he is more than capable of overnight parenting time. And the idea that mom is the only one who can do that is not acceptable to us. We don't agree with that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dart. We have a 9-year-old child. Ms. Kuhn, what's your client's objection to overnight parenting time?
This child is autistic. She has issues and problems with routines ever since Mr. Bennett left to be with his fiance, who also is a known drug addict and abuser. Ever since he left to be with his fiance, his parenting time has been sporadic to non-existent. He went the last 3 weeks without even seeing the child, claiming that his car broke down and that he didn't have a cell phone. So he has not been consistent. This child has a consistent routine. This child will absolutely lose her mind when the consistency isn't met. He has brought her home screaming and crying because he's only been able to keep her for a couple of hours before she triggers. So it's not like we have a child who's a typical child, Your Honor. We dealt with this extensively with Ms. LaPrade, and Ms. LaPrade recommended a schedule in the hopes that we can get some consistency going and we can expand on that schedule. Trust me, my client would love to have a break, But given the special needs of this child and given the lack of consistency that Mr. Bennett has exercised, presumably because he's with his girlfriend, we want to start slowly and at least work towards overnights and get this child to a point where she's not going to melt down. Court needs to look at the best interest of the child, not the best interests of Mr. Bennett or the best interests of Mrs. Bennett. This is about a child who has autism and who has issues and who melts down. So Ms. LaPrade heard all of this, Your Honor, and her parenting time recommendation is really geared towards moving forward. Hopefully, Mr. Bennett can be consistent. Hopefully, he won't cancel parenting time. Hopefully, he won't call my client last minute saying, sorry, can't pick her up. Hopefully, he won't bring her home early because she's having a meltdown. We want him to parent as well, Your Honor. So given the unique challenges in this case, not an issue of my client trying to punish Mr. Bennett. Like I said, this is about the child, and Ms. LaPrade looked at that. So I would ask that the court adopt the recommendation. We're coming back in June. Hopefully we can expand parenting time. We want to.
May I briefly rebut?
Yes, Mr. Dart.
The whole idea that these behavioral issues only occur in the limited time that father is permitted the child when he asks for parenting time, which is why he filed his motion in the first place, does not stand a whole lot of scrutiny here. The child has had behavioral issues, but not severe enough that she can't spend the entire day in school, not severe enough that she can't go to daycare, which she's gone to routinely. She doesn't at this point in time because mom has lost her job, but that may come up again. I don't really see that the whole idea of like limiting father is going to be the problem. In fact, I would suggest that after mom's father out, perhaps these problems started getting a little worse because the routine that she had her entire life was upset. I think he has terrible problems, but if there were, he would call, try to work with mom. If he needed instructions and some cooperation, he would ask for it. He'll be getting all the encouragement in the world from me to do that. But to interrupt the longstanding parenting time is not warranted here. I think he would tell you that he tried to get time. The idea that he abandoned her for 3 weeks, he would take great issue with that. So
How many nights has a child slept in father's home since the party separated?
Mom won't permit it, and then she's using that as evidence of abandonment.
Okay, Mr. Dart, you sent the court a photograph this morning of the child in the bedroom. Wasn't that the bedroom at Mr. Bennett's home?
It is, but I don't believe that depicts the fact that doesn't represent that she spent an overnight there. It represents that she's capable of doing so and he has accommodations there. Mr. Bennett, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the child's never spent a night at dad's home, correct?
Is that correct, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And what about the issue of consistency, Mr. Dart? Is Mr. Bennett, there's been times agreed upon and he's not followed through with that?
I don't believe that there was any agreed upon. I think it was a situation where mom was insisting on very limited times. So if there was a time when he missed it, it may have been like a problem with a car or something like that, but it was not an abandonment. And as I pointed out, nearly 7 weeks ago, I filed the motion that we're here on today because he couldn't get parenting time. So she's saying he wouldn't have time, but then she was denying it. He didn't want to take the child forcibly and cause an incident. He petitioned the court to bring this before the court, which took nearly 2 months to get heard, which happens, I understand, but it's not evidence of him abandoning the child.
Well, Mr. Dart's girlfriend, fiance lives in that home, correct? Mr.
Sir,
Bart, Mr. Bennett's?
I'm
Mr.
told
Bennett's-
not, but his testimony under oath is warranted at this point in time. I'm told not.
No. Not at all.
Your Honor, he's violated the court
May
order
I
because
judge?
there was a court order to not have her there. And a couple of times he's taken the child to the home. The girlfriend has been there, even though he's well aware of.
Wait a minute.
that
If there's a
court
show
order.
cause,
So I know there's no show cause, but I'm just
but you're
bringing it
bringing
up.
this up sandbag
talking
style.
about it.
No, that's not appropriate.
In addition, Your Honor, Mr.
No.
Bennett was working 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning, so he wasn't doing bedtime routines or things like that. Like I said, my client is not opposed to expanding parenting time, and she has not denied him any parenting time. When he has contacted her to get the child. She has absolutely said, yes, take her. He'll only take her for like 3 hours at a time and then he brings her back. So that's not a denial of parenting time. Like I said, Your Honor, this will be a good test to see if Mr. Bennett's gonna exercise a parenting time. He is every weekend from 10 to 6 on Saturday and Sunday and every Wednesday. Hopefully we come back and he is exercising his parenting time and things are going well. This is not the end all. This is a temporary moving forward because he hasn't been consistent.
Very well. The party's going to mediate in 3 weeks. So at this point in time, the court's going to adopt the recommendation of Mr. Pratt with respect to parenting time. Dad's parenting time will be every weekend. Saturday, 10 to 6, Sunday, 10 to 6, starting this coming weekend, which is June 1st. In addition, every Wednesday, 5 to 7:30. So that Wednesday will be, well, that's tomorrow, correct? So Dad's parenting time will be tomorrow. Is that correct, Ms. Kuhn? Mr. Dart?
Yes.
Okay, and who's gonna pick up? Dad will pick up, mom will pick up at the end?
I mean, he has transported her in fast, so yeah.
Yeah, I guess he's been transporting. We would ask that he feed her dinner during his parenting time, Your Honor. That's been an issue too.
Well, absolutely. This over dinner hour. So Mr.
Well, of course he
Bennett
will.
have
I'm
tomorrow,
sorry.
5 to 7:30. Mr. Bennett should make sure the child is fed. Well, so Mr. Bennett will pick up at the beginning of his parenting time. Mom will pick up at the end. Is that, let's make sure we're on the same page here.
Yep, that's fine.
Mr. Dart, Mr. Bennett, would that work?
Yes, can I say something real quick?
I'm sorry?
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. You may want to talk to your attorney, but your parenting time will start tomorrow, 5 to 7:30. You'll pick up, and then you pick up at Saturday and you pick up at Sunday at 10 o'clock. And you
I've
make
been
sure
on, I've
she's
been
in.
on, I've been on
Go ahead.
parenting time since day one.
Okay, well, this hopefully it's gonna be, it'll be consistent and you'll be exercising this parenting time every time. And it can be discussed in more detail when you appear back. And yes, the court is, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to expand to overnights when you come back on June 20th. If you have agreement or not, it seems we're definitely moving that direction, Mr. Bennett.
Okay, I
Let's give
appreciate
it-
that. Thank you.
Let's give it a try again, so the court's gonna order that parenting time on a temporary basis without prejudice. Probably should have joint legal child support effective April 1st, paid through the front of the court, $545 a month. The girlfriends, boyfriends shall not be present during that parenting time. In the presence of minor child, shall have exclusive use of the home. The marital home shall be listed for sale. And hopefully we can reach an agreement on realtor when we come back on June 20th. All communication between parties should be via text message, and neither party shall remove or sell any marital property. Mr. Bench should be encouraged to prepare a list of items he wants for supply from the home so that it can be discussed thoroughly at mediation. And both parties should contact realtors, get a fair market analysis. The only additional thing the court's ordering is that Mr. Bennett not make any payments on any expenses for a third party, including but not limited to a ring. Anything further this afternoon, Ms. Kuhn or Mr. Dart?
Ms. Kuhn, will you prepare the order? If you give it to me, I'll review it promptly and hopefully we don't have to 7-day it.
All right, Mr. Pratt's gonna actually adopt, I'm gonna adopt the court, Mr. Pratt's recommendation. That will serve as an order. If someone thinks we need a more formal order, then some council can prepare one. But I think this will cover everything between now and June 20th. We're just changing the mediation date from Ms. LaPrade to Ms. Patrick, June 20th at 1:30. And then the parties shall appear before the court for continued pretrial conference immediately following that mediation.
We would just need a
Good.
uniform child support order.
Yep, I can do that.
Thank you.
I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Pratt, will
somebody-
you send, sorry,
Go ahead, Mr. Dart.
Mr. Pratt, will you send me a copy of the recommendation?
Our office will send it as soon as it's signed, Mr. Dart.
Okay, anything further, Ms. Kuhn or Mr. Dart?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
No, nothing for me.
Right, you're welcome. All right, that'll conclude this matter. We can zoom out. And Mr. Bennett, make sure you are there timely tomorrow for your parenting time.
I definitely will be.
5 o'clock every Wednesday and every Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 6.
Thank you very much.
Right, you can zoom
I'll
out.
be in touch with
Thank
you
all.
shortly. Everybody have a good
Thank
day.
you, Mr. Pratt.
Too.
Thank you, Your Honor.